Alrighty then. Now we're here in our lab. We've talked about passive interface. Now we're going to actually do it. All right. As usual, we'll verify to make sure we're getting updates. And then we're going to go ahead and do our passive interface. And we'll do it on this router right here. And we'll see what happens. I'll see you inside the lab. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Same routing lab, nothing different. We have our routing protocols in place, our static routes as backup routes in case something happens. Now, we've talked about already in the previous lecture about what a passive interface command is. With RIP, what this does, you do it within the routing protocol, and you tell it, hey, listen, I don't want to send out any updates out of this particular interface. Now, obviously, you would do that if you're going out to the internet, out to a remote network, or just to a network you don't want to send these particular updates to. All right. But the goal of the lab is to show you how this works, okay, and how you will configure it. All right. So we'll do it very simple, very easy. All right. As you can see, let's go to router 2, and let's do a show IP route again, just to make sure that that is the current routing table. All right, and it is. And you can see we're getting updates from the 10 network, okay, via that interface, which is router 1, on my interface for router 2, right? So we are getting updates through RIP. All right, so we're going to stop that. We're going to stop that using the passive interface command. All right, so we'll enter a couple times there. Config T, router RIP, ver2, and then in here you do passive interface, and then the interface you want to put it. In this case, it's going to be a serial 0/0/0/0, right? That's my exit interface. Okay, what happened? Okay. That's the interface that all updates are going out by. Now, I'm not going to wait, because if I were to go right now to router 2, the routing table will look the same, because we have to wait for those 30 seconds, right? Because every 30 seconds, RIP updates. Show IP route. I don't feel like waiting 30 seconds. So if you look at it, it looks like, see, it says R 192.168.10.0. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make sure this is copied, and I'm going to reload the router, which will force everything. Obviously, you're not going to do this in a production network. All right. As you configure, design it properly. That way you know, hey, I don't want to send any advertisements out this interface. I'll receive advertisements, but I won't send any. Okay. And there's a little trick in the packet tracer, because they've asked me this question before. All right, where, hey, I can't get inside my my router. Let's bring this down here. Okay, you can go to the config tab, click on any one of the interfaces. It'll go ahead and let you in the router. All right, and then just go back to the CLI. Go back to the CLI, and now you're inside the interface. All right, so no big deal. So let's exit, and let's see what happened to our routing table, right? Control Z, show IP route. Look, that R that was there before now changed to an S, because I'm not sending any updates through RIP, because I'm saying, hey, don't send any updates. Do not send any updates out this particular interface. So I'm not, but I have a static route in between as a backup, so that's why you see that S there. So the static route took effect. I still have connectivity. But that's what a passive interface command does. It will stop sending updates. Now, will it receive updates? Let's see. Let's go to our router 1. Let's go to our routing table, show IP route. And I'm still getting my routing updates from the 20 network. I am receiving updates, but I am not sending updates. That's the whole point of the passive interface. Now, obviously, router 2 can still get to my network because I have static routes as a backup. Okay, so again, it's all in the design. It's all in the design. But you see how that R that we had there before changed to an S because RIP is now not sending updates. Now we're relying on the static route to get us where we need to go. And if we ping 192.168.10.1, let's be bold and let's go all the way. And we can get to it. Now, obviously, that will be defeating the purpose, right? Because we really don't want to send out the updates. We don't want to have a backup static route to, hey, send that anyway. But the purpose of what the lab is for, the purpose is to show you how to configure a passive interface, what a passive interface does, which will stop sending, but it will keep receiving. And normally you're going to do this to an exit interface where it's going out to an exterior network, an external network, that you don't want to send your updates of your particular network to somewhere else that you don't want to. That's what the passive interface command using a particular interface does. I'll see everybody outside the lab. Now that was pretty simple, pretty cool too, because you see we had static routes, so it will still communicate, but you saw that in router 2, from getting a RIP update from the 10 network, the static route said, hey, I'm not getting any RIP updates, so I'm going to be now in the routing table, and I'll take you to that particular network. See how good static routes is? But that's what passive interface does. We said, hey, passive interface within the RIP version 2, passive interface S000. Do not send any updates to the neighboring router. So he's not getting any updates. Okay? So when it goes into his router, I say, I'm not getting up. He can receive updates from him, but he's not going to send them any updates. So now the static route took over. Cool. So RIP went crazy, and for all intents and purposes, but we still have communication. But in reality, remember, if you're doing passive interfaces, usually it's going out to a remote network. It's going out to a remote network that you don't want to send, like the internet. You don't want to send out your routing table, your private network out to the internet. So definitely passive interface will be helpful at that point. And that sounds like a test question to me. I'll see you in the next one.